to do that's going to give us some additional touches with our clients, but as well provide them with something that hits them every month, and with a good follow-up lead generation plan and following up with your clients, they're not only going to love you, but they're going to love and be associated with the brand that you all work for. So I just really appreciate every effort that Leslie, Tom, and Tim are making to make this our best worst year ever all together. And so Tom was going to be here and join us, but got called away. So Leslie's doing this on her own. And if you guys have any questions along the way, just go ahead and put them in the chat screen, and we will, I'll address them with Leslie or bring them to her attention if she doesn't see them. And so we're just going to have a conversation about how we do work together and how we do create the good life together. So
yeah, Carol, you said, you know, I'm going to be doing it on my own. Audra's going to pop in for a minute, but if you guys want to give me a little bit of grace, since I don't do very many Zoom calls, I might mess up some of these things. Kidding. I'm kind of a pro, but every single time it seems like a little bit more layers to what we can do, and how Zoom is changing. All that. All right.
Can I tell them one more thing before you go? So we're going to have a drawing at the end for a $250 card. Is it a gift card? Yeah, you do anything you want with it. But you have to be on at the beginning and on the end. So as soon as Leslie starts, I'm writing down everybody that's on. And when Leslie finishes, I'm writing everybody that's on. And then we'll do a drawing. We'll have a recording of this whole session, so you can go watch it again. And it'll be posted on Facebook page later today. And we will have done the drawing. And that's when it'll be announced who is $250 richer than when they got up this morning.
Well, and we're giving away 10 grand, not to one person.
Yeah, I wanted you to talk about that.
$1,000, you guys. So this is definitely going to be one of those ATAs that you're going to want to do. I'm going to talk about exactly why we're doing this and what exactly it is. Go over some kind of tips and tricks to kind of make it go smoothly, and then also give you kind of all the details so you can just hit the ground running. So, all right, what we've got, and you guys, I mentioned it yesterday in the post, is that we are doing a matching program for the personalized magazine subscriptions. So through the end of the month, with the magazine subscription that you order, we will match them. So if you
Leslie, there is a lot of background noise. There's still, not everybody's muted, and we can barely hear you.
Okay.
So is it possible to try to remute everybody but you?
Yep, let's see.
I just did.
It's already better.
Okay, good. Then somebody went and muted me. Huh. It'll be, we're just gonna do this one in sign language and closed captions. So, okay, so I'll go over that again. So we are contributing up to $10,000 for any personalized magazine subscription that you guys order in the remaining of the month. So through July 31st, you buy a subscription, a personalized subscription, we match you one. So if you buy 5 subscriptions, we're gonna buy 5 more for you. So the cost of a magazine subscription is $13.25. So if you do that, then that brings it down to what, like $6.67 or so. So that is a really cheap way to provide an item of value to your clients that are hitting their mailboxes every single month, that has a great big label with your picture, your contact information, and everything, and a personalized message from you. This tool is one of the most underutilized tools, that is the most powerful tool that we have at the Better Homes and Gardens brand. There is no other brokerage out there that is relatable 365 days a year. With the Better Homes and Gardens brand, we actually have the ability to tie in our relevance outside of the home purchase and selling portion of it by providing value to our agents or our clients while still keeping ourselves branded, because we can pull information, articles, tips, those little pieces of nuggets of awesomeness in the Better Homes and Gardens magazine. We can then take that and put that into our marketing campaigns. And for less than $7, maximize that. I mean, that is not, even the $13.25 is a very, very inexpensive way to keep in touch with your clients. And it's also extremely consistent. So I think that if you use this regularly, so we obviously want to ramp it up right now and get you guys going and get you used to it and liking it and start hearing from your clients how much they like it, that you start using that within your marketing and your business plan. Because you can go into, for every closing, $13.25. Sometimes we forget to even do a closing gift, or, you know, like the Manharts, they do a one-time, you know, once a year, really awesome, bigger gift instead of a closing gift. This could be a fill-in so that there's something to have kind of every month. Or some agents just don't do closing gifts, or just don't get it put, you know, put it as part of it. So having that and using that regularly is going to just enhance your marketing. You can also take it on a listing presentation too, you know, and your first time buyer presentations. You know, let them know, hey, I get you a year subscription to Better Homes and Gardens magazine. And not that it's going to make or break a deal, but it just adds that extra level and layer of value that you provide, and that it's something different than other agents are doing or can do. I mean, who else is going to send just a random subscription somewhere? You want to get Time magazine from your real estate agent? Well, that has no relevance. You get Better Homes and Gardens, that is an immediate association to us because we're Better Homes and Gardens real estate. So you guys hear me talk all the time that it takes 7 to 12 times for somebody to really recognize you, your brand, and that you sell real estate. You got 12 times right here just hitting their mailbox without you even having to think about it. This is not a newsletter that you have to come up with content, that you have to create, that you have to print, and then you have to spend more on shipping. This is done for you. This is a no-brainer. I mean, this is the biggest marketing bang for your buck, and we are not using it. So we want to, at this level, encourage it more, because we mention it, but we don't necessarily push it as much as we can. And so we're pushing it now. We want you guys to use that. We want to invest in your businesses by matching up to 10 grand over the next 2 weeks, and get those magazine subscriptions on every coffee table, every doctor's office, dentist, your car dealership, your hair salon. Every grandma out there needs to have that on her table. Let's get it out there. You do your, you know, do your friends, do your family, do any past clients, go back a year and do a subscription to anyone that's bought or sold a house with you in the last year. You have, you know, if you're making relationships with agents in other states that you want to start using referral networks for mail money, start sending them those. Do your teachers, you know, teacher appreciation, right? We right now definitely need a little bit more of that. So send them to your kids as teachers. There's all sorts of opportunities to send for $13 and kick it out and get it into people's doorsteps. We spend more money doing kind of more money and time, because time is money. We spend more time and money doing kind of one-off marketing pieces that we think we might get something out of. This is built right there. 2 or 3 clicks and it's out, it's done. And so at the end, I'm going to talk about how to utilize that, the subscriptions that you'll be mailing, utilize that within an overall kind of booster campaign, so that you can really maximize the subscriptions that you're sending and interweave them into your online, your personal touches, and then also your public online. So not just taking your $13 and sending it out, and obviously we're matching. You can then leap off of that and have so many more reasons to contact people. Like you find an article, you know, look, we should be looking at our magazines every single month and finding articles that are relevant to what our clients are. How many times do we sell houses to clients that need a remodel, or they love gardening and they were excited about their new yard that they get to do? Hello, Better Homes and Gardens magazine is the perfect way to find an article like that to either rip out, send in a personal note, send a link in an email, or just even send to, on social media and post it. You can take all sorts of things that gives that recognition that's really easy, that you don't have to rethink about and recreate. So I've got, I might ramble. You guys know I have a tendency to talk a lot. When Tom's not here, I talk doubly. So you're just going to be hearing from me left and right. So
Hey, Leslie, real quickly, a quick question that just came up. How long is the company going to be doing this? And what is the plan around timing? And then we'll talk about some logistics, but how long?
Yes, so I have a lot of logistics for you. I even made a presentation, you guys. I was
really
ambitious at 10:30 this morning. So we'll go over the details of how to order, when they get it, the things that happen before that they'll receive too. But we're doing it from now until July 31st. If we, because we want to ignite action right now, because now is the time to do it. We have having an item of value, and people have been kind of stuck in their homes and they're really focusing on their homes right now too, that getting it out right now as we go into the fall, where we might have another, people might have to quarantine more, we might have more restrictions from a city and state level. This will be the perfect time that these start hitting mailboxes, and then you can start following up through that. So we'll talk more about when you order versus when they actually receive it.
Okay, good. That was my next question.
And who knows, we might do more if depending on how successful this is and how much you guys love it and how much response you get, we might do it again. So it's really important. And Tom and Audra and I have had a few really long meetings about this, because the more we think about it and the more we talk about it, the more important we're finding that it is. And as us, as at our level, to encourage and provide value to you by giving you more tools and more education and more top of mind awareness about what the tools that we have at Better Homes is. And this by far is the best tool. The next one will be Pinpoint, because you guys know I love Pinpoint. But this one is the easiest and quickest way to get your brand out there. And I just talk, see, this is why I don't do presentations, because I just talk and then just kind of maneuver all the way around it. So I just talked for about 15 minutes about why we are investing in you guys. And we also, again, you guys are just rock stars anyways. So we want to make sure that you also get to elevate that within your client database too. Okay, so here's the details. $13.25 each for personalized magazine subscription. I know I've said it, but you guys also know it takes 7 to 12 times for you guys for anyone to remember anything. So $13.25 for an annual subscription. That is your picture, your contact information, personalized message from you directly on the label. You have to sign up before, you have to have your magazines sent out on or before July 31st, and we will match subscription for subscription. So like this says, if you buy 5 and the spend on that is $66.25, you'll get 10. All right. Okay, so here's a little bit about what it's going to look like. So here on the bottom, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but this is what the label looks like. And you'll be able to see that more as we kind of dive into it as well. But it's very pointed and directed at you. I almost wanted to point to the screen because you guys can definitely see where my finger's pointing. But there's also been a lot of success within the marketplace, or within our market of Better Homes and Gardens agents that have been using this. And so we do have a couple of case studies and testimonials. I'm going to point out one of the best ones and the most successful ones. And then we'll have some, next week we'll pepper you guys with more information and more instructionals and more testimonials, and then keep you updated on how many subscriptions we're ordering. So one person in Atlanta, he sends 800 magazines a month. 800. He has seen his business grow significantly. He said it's his #1 advertising tool. It's affordable. Adding this program, his sales went from 7 transactions for $3.5 million in 3 years to 21 transactions totaling $14 million in 2 years. He feels that much of his success has come from those personalized magazine subscriptions. So I'll show you how the math does. All right, here's how, this is the guy I'm talking about. So he actually, Audra ended up talking to him, but he actually hired 2 other ladies to help him manage through all of the calls and follow-up that he'd been getting from sending out all of these subscriptions. There was a point in time where he thought, you know what, maybe I'm not going to do this anymore. It doesn't really seem like it's gaining any traction, you know, kind of on the early, you know, few months in. And then he started getting listing appointments, or he would go on a listing appointment and see his magazine on the counter with his information on it. And then it just exploded. And so you can see this first year in the red, that was prior to him doing any of the magazine subscriptions. And then it just ballooned and grew from there. So in 2018, he got 16 transactions from the magazine subscriptions alone. That pays for it, that's for sure. Audra, is there anything else that you wanted to add from your conversation with Mark?
No, I think you hit on most of it. I mean, he actually took a couple whole developments and neighborhoods and canvassed the whole thing, which is obviously very ambitious, but it is how he built his business. And then he said in 2019, he actually even doubled that 9.2 million, which is pretty impressive. But yeah, he said he did have a conversation with his wife about maybe we should stop doing the magazines. And then the very next day, someone called him for a listing appointment and they said, well, we saw your magazine. So he said they're just not going to stop. He said they're the most powerful tool that he can use.
That's awesome.
Well, you know, and if I can chime in, you know, that 800 magazines a month sounds huge, but if any of you did the math, without this discount that Better Homes is offering, or the Good Life Group is offering, that's $10,600 a year. $10,600 a year. He's mailing out 800 a month. That's not bad. That's phenomenally inexpensive.
To get 16 transactions. Yeah, pretty cool. And I mean, you can amp up too. So if you use this, I kind of mentioned using this within kind of your overall marketing and business plan. And so if we have time at the end, I'm going to give you guys some creative ways to use the magazine. And I'm also going to give you guys some advanced ways that if you want to take that on too, like something similar to farming and taking it from print to web. So bringing in some landing pages to try to drive some more of these pieces. So if we have time, I'll go ahead and do that. If not, then maybe I'll put something together a little bit later, but it's kind of fun ways to think about outside of the box on what you can do with these magazines. Anybody have any questions so far?
Leslie, one thing I wanted to point out is we get caught up a lot of times in the numbers of like, okay, we sent out 800 subscriptions and it's going to cost, you know, 10,000 or however many dollars, and we got 16 transactions. And that is beautiful when that kind of order is in place. But the reality is if the lead generation system is as good as it is with what's developed already in our company, and that constant communication and building the relationship, this is like the seal on the envelope of the relationship. Is every single month there is something that no matter what, whether you're sick, whether you're not sick, whether you're out of town, that thing just keeps happening for you. And it's a subliminal, that kind of call you get out from somebody that you never heard. You know, you do all this lead generation stuff, you make calls, they never call you back, you're constantly in their face, and you never hear anything back, and then all of a sudden they call and say, I want to list my house. Like, it's just another piece of that touch. And I that's where I think the value needs to be, not just in the numbers of how many you do, but the consistency, and that you do it broadly. So go ahead. Sorry.
Leslie, there are questions coming in. Do you see those?
Yes, I'm seeing
Okay.
that. Angela, I'll find out if we can do team logo. The only thing is we might be confined to space within Nebraska Commission advertising regulations. We might not be able to cram all of them in, but you can change your text. And there are a few lines, and I'm just gonna kind of show us and walk us through. There are a few spots where you can customize that. So you could change one of the lines to be the Husker Home Finders. So that way you can still get that, but then tweak it a little bit. The other thing with that is if you order 20 or more, you can actually design your own label. So if you wanted to design your own label and get with, say, PIP, and work within the guidelines of the label size that they have, you might be able to squeeze in that logo and still be compliant with the Real Estate Commission. Yes, it will always have your picture on it as long as we have your updated picture on our back end. So you'll want to check that, and I'll have some kind of prep stuff and kind of tips and tricks of things to keep in mind when you get ready to start ordering them. Right now we don't have a cap on it, but we are getting, once we get up to $10,000, we're there. So I would encourage you to try it and see what works for your business and how you want to move forward with doing it. So if you're going to kind of try it as a one-off with us, then maybe do a handful of them and see how that goes. Or if you think, well, the company is going to help me, you know, cover some of this cost, I'm going to go nuts and send it to all of my database. Well, you want to be sure that, because the investment is still there on your end, you want to be sure that those that you're sending it to are quality people that you know, like, and trust, and can get referrals from, and also that you can maintain the communication and the contacts so that you can maximize the dollars that you're spending on those magazine subscriptions as well. All right. Yes, so if the client, Jeff asks about if the client already has the magazine, you will be notified about that. And then you have the opportunity to change to another magazine within that. Now, they do have a lot of different magazines that you can send. However, I highly recommend the Better Homes and Gardens, because it's just not going to be as relevant if you send, say, Food and Wine or Martha Stewart. It's not going to be as impactful unless you utilize that in how you contact them, right? So if you send a Food and Leisure, then you need to be contacting them and specifically referencing the magazine that you sent and pointing out certain pieces within that. So that's how I would use that if you wanted to go a different route for it. All right, so Audrey, do you want to pop on and give us a quick little tutorial on how to order?
Sure. Yep. Okay. So you start in the greenhouse. So this is all through the greenhouse. And one thing you have to remember when you go to the greenhouse, if you don't already have your logged in saved, is that it is not your Better Omaha email. It is that your first name, last name, and then the bhgrealestate.com email. And if you don't know your password for the greenhouse, there is an option that you would use. You have to reset that. We can't reset it for you, or you would have to call them. So that's just the first thing you do is you get into the greenhouse. Here's your login in the upper right. And then once you are logged in, you'll go here, and the first thing you'll see on this main screen, you go to Agent Tools. And then under that drop down, there will be one that says Buy BHG, and that's what you click. And then this screen to the right will pop up, and you click on that bottom left button, go to Buy BHG, and then The first thing that's going to be there is the Better Homes personalized magazine subscription. It's the first one on the left. So you just have to click on that magazine. And then once you do that, you can click. So you want to do one at a time, unless you're going to be importing a whole list from Excel. But I find when I kind of looked through it that it was easier to kind of maintain the whole thing and look at them if you do the one at a time. And you can still enter them all in that same order. So you hit place your order, and then when you're there, and in a minute I'll show you where you can choose the magazines. But here are all the magazines. And like Leslie said, we definitely recommend Better Homes just for the branding and staying consistent. But if they already have that one and you want to get a Martha Stewart Living or something like that, then that is definitely an option. So then here's the form that you'll see after you hit the single user, single subscription. So you put in the step one, you put in the client's name, last name, address, all that information. And then this is where you choose the Better Homes and Gardens 12 issues or the different magazines. There's a drop down. So you just make sure that default Better Homes and Gardens is there. And then the next step is to say who it's from. So you put in your name, your cell phone, all of that is right there. And then here is where you can choose to customize your note to them every month, or use the default note. And you can drop down these and see what they are if you use the default or if you want to make it your own. And then this is where there's your loyalty label as well. And I do have an email of the lady in charge of the personalized magazine subscription program. And we can include that in our information to you, because she was very quick in getting back to me about questions. And so you could email her directly as well about helping with your custom label, or call her. But so this would have my photo. I don't have a photo in there because I don't have it in, but your photo would pop up. And then that's what they would show for your gift. So then when you're all done, you hit this shopping cart button after you add it to your cart, and this will pop up in your cart. So say you had 10 different people you put this in for, all 10 would be there. And you would see what your note to each of those 10 people were. And then you can make sure you have their address right, and make sure everything is correct. And then that's when you can check out and place all of that, the order for all those 10 people at the same time. And then you will get an email from Better Homes confirming your subscriptions, which that email is the one you could forward to me or send me a screenshot or whatever is the easiest, so we can go ahead and confirm that you did that by the deadline, and then we will reimburse you. We will credit your agent bill or put the money into your account for the free subscriptions. And this is what your clients will receive, this postcard. As soon as you place your order, they'll get this postcard, which, as you can see, will be customized on the back with your photo and everything, and your contact info showing that they placed that order, or showing that you placed that order for them. And here is the schedule. So obviously, if we enter them before July 31st, you will, so the deadline would be by August 7th that they would get them. And then, so they will get a postcard right away. The thank you postcard will be the end of August. So in about a month that they will be getting that subscription. And then their first issue, they will not actually receive until November. But that's another way in November, you could email them or text them or something and just say, hey, you got the postcard back in August showing that I ordered this magazine gift for you. Have you gotten your magazine yet? And that's just another way to, contact them and touch base. And this, so if you want to look at the schedule for the whole year, it's right there. And this is on their website as well, on the greenhouse. So then this link you can copy, and this will tell you all about everything. And you can bypass the whole greenhouse and everything, just go straight to this. It'll still probably make you log on. But this is basically has even more about the program. And then it has, it includes all these testimonials from other agents in other markets who've used this program and had a lot of success about it, and just their stories about like the hairdresser in the salon who handed it to her client, and the client called the agent that day, things like that. So are there any questions about these details that have been coming in? Or I can go back to the, okay.
So Sarah asked if someone moved. The address would go with the address change for the post office. So if they change their address, then they'll get that there. Sorry, trying to maneuver and read, click and read. Anyways, okay. So it does, it renews, you'll get notification for renewal, and you'll have the option to renew it for them if you want. So that's something to keep in mind too, that the other thing too is, so you'll get notified when it's time to renew, and if you would like to. And then also if they have the subscription already and it expires, they will notify you to see if you want to pick it up from there. Or you can choose at the time of order to go ahead and pick it up right after their current one expires. So there are a few different options for that. All right, so I'm gonna get back into it. All right, so Audra just showed us kind of the basics of going in and ordering your subscription. So they're really, once you know where it's at, it's easy to get to and maneuver. You do it once, it's gonna be pretty easy to continue. Couple things that you wanna make sure. Make sure you know your greenhouse login. That's always #1 priority, and it has that really funky username. So it's that first.last@bhgrealestate.com. If you have trouble getting your login, you have to go through the forgot login information on the actual site. Usually I can help with 99% of any troubleshooting when it comes to the greenhouse, but this is the one area that they won't let me do, is to reset passwords. So you'll have to do that. If you don't have it, it's pretty quick though. So just like any other typical password reset option. The other thing is make sure that we have a current headshot. So a lot of you guys I know have gotten your headshots updated over the last year or two or whatnot. And as you've been updating them on Zap, it doesn't necessarily update on our back end. So we have a back end software that keeps track of a lot of different things that you guys don't need to know about, don't need to see, don't need to care about. Other than here, we just need to have your current photo, because that photo is going to feed into the magazine subscription photo, but it's also going to feed into other areas within the greenhouse that kind of auto pick up, like the new marketing center pieces. The other thing is send it to Audra if you need to have it updated. And then the other thing is if you're going to do bulk ordering. So if you are planning on doing 20 or more, you need to do that in an Excel spreadsheet that they have provided on the actual site. So if you do 20, you have to buy credits on that exact spot where Audra was. So there was that left box that said to order 1. There's the right box that says to order in bulk. So you would buy credits at that point. You would download the spreadsheet, enter your information in, and then there's an email address that you send that to. So then they would take it from there. If you are sending over 20, you can customize the message each month. So if you wanted to do a different message for December with a happy holidays thing, you can do that if you have that bulk order, but it has to be for only that one. If you do 20 individual ones over 6 months, you don't have that option to do that custom message, but if you do them all at once, then you do, and you can change that. So just be thinking if you want a custom message, if you're going to do that bulk piece. Again, when you're ordering, just make sure all the information is accurate, and that is your information and also the client's information. sometimes very easy as we're getting really busy to just transpose a number or so. So just make sure you've got the accurate address. And then also, like we said, we recommend Better Homes and Gardens magazine because it's branded. And it's going to be more, it's going to resonate more with your clients as well. Let's see. Yes. So when you've completed all of your subscription orders, you'll have an order history. So you can, the easiest way is going to be to take a screenshot of that order history and then send it to Audra. Or if it's easier to just take screenshots and forward in an email, that's fine. We just want to keep it as easy as possible. So if we can limit it to one email, that would be great. And then again, just make sure if you're bulk ordering or if you're planning on ordering 20 or more, that you'll have an extra couple of steps to do when it comes to a spreadsheet piece. Any questions on the ordering process and
Did you see Jen Manhart's question?
Nope.
Once you create a custom label, will future orders be able to utilize it? Or do we have to order another 20 at once to get the custom label?
You can customize at the very beginning. So when you're entering in, if you're doing it individually, when you're entering that in, there's like 3 or 4 lines. They have a generic message in there, like a gift for you, which I don't know, kind of generic and tacky, but so you can customize that, and that's the message that they'll receive every single month. If you do the bulk, then there is that email address that you'll do the communication through them to change it for every month.
I'm not sure, Jen, was that what you were asking? I think maybe she meant if she created her own custom label, then like with
like
a different logo, like through PIP maybe. But I think the one, yeah, I think that's what she was referring to, if she made her own custom label at PIP. And I think that's a question I would probably have to shoot the lady who's in charge of the program, but we could easily send that to her and ask her about custom labels. I'm sure she would talk to us all about it.
Yeah, let's
really
find out
helpful.
on that, or if you have to do another bulk order in order to get it. My would
or
be
you just have one done. I mean, have it done and have it like uploaded every time you do a magazine, like you order.
I would think they would let you reuse it.
Yeah, I would too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, can you get that answered, Audra, and then get back to us?
We can get that answered. I can get more information on making custom labels.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. This PowerPoint is a surprise to me as much as it is to you, everyone that pops up. All right, delivery schedule. So I do want to talk about this because this is, it does take some time, right? So it can take 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, it says 8 to 12 weeks, but I know they're quicker than that. But this isn't an immediate order and then they get it the next month. It's going to take a few months for them to get it, which gives you an opportunity to reach out to them more. So if we order, like Audra was saying, they're going to get their postcard that's notifying them of the subscription at the end of August. So my suggestion is get in the habit of sending a personal note every time you order. So when you make an order, say it's now or in the future, just get in the habit of writing a personal note that says, I've gotten a magazine subscription for you. You should receive it in November. Just want to let you know how much I appreciate you and you're a great client and blah, 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 right? So that's one touch point. The second one they're going to get, which is also going to say it's from you and it's a thank you gift for that person. And that's another touch point that you don't even have to do. Then in November, when they get their magazine subscription, call them, text them. I would call them, make sure they got it. And then the next month, which will be December, look through the magazine and see what, if there's any relevant articles based on your clients and start sending them out. So I would say for the 3 months after, you get your personal note, the note that comes from Better Homes magazine, the magazine itself where you reach out and ask if they've gotten it. Then the next 3 months, you have a whole little client database that you can keep track of. Go through those magazines, pick out 1 to 3 articles and start sending them to your clients as they're relevant. Say, hey, did you see this article in that you know, in the Better Homes magazine. Isn't that great? I know you were talking about your daughter wanted to paint her room, and this talks all about different color choices for kids' rooms. Boom, easy. So utilizing some of those pieces on it too is going to really maximize, like I was saying, maximize your subscriptions. So this is what it looks like when they get their automatic notification from Better Homes that you have a subscription. So people might reach out to you at that point too, but that's what they're going to get. Okay, here's ways that you can utilize the brand, and just kind of some general thought points. This is where I was going to put my extra little creative ways and advanced ways to use it, but I'm going to go over a few of these, right? So use them for closing gifts, your family, friends, add them to your listing and buying presentations. So you could even have the generic magazine subscription for the entire year without it customized for you is $5 a year. So what we're doing here at the office is we're ordering like 10 subscriptions a month so that we can use them for little gifts, recruiting, just kind of nice little somethings. So if you set yourself up to have extras on hand, then you can use those very inexpensively and put them into your presentations and have something immediately as an item of value to give when you're sitting at the table across from them. You could also do a drawing on social media. So you could have that you're giving away, I'm giving away 10 magazine subscriptions. You know, send me your information and enter to win, or first 10 people that contact me, do that, right? So the other thing that, if you want a next level and take this online, offline, is create landing pages. So by a landing page, I mean it's MailChimp can do it now, but it's basically directing people offline to online so that you can get their information. So anyone that you're sending magazines to that you have gaps in, you can start trying to filter them back through to your landing page so that you can get their email address. Same with your Facebook. Let's say you're doing a drawing. Well, we don't want just people raising their hand on Facebook and adding them that way, because we don't get any extra contact information from them. If we direct them to a one-page landing page that's very specific to your magazine sweepstakes giveaway, then they need to enter their name, their contact information, their email address, and their actual address. So now you are gathering data for your database to grow it. Then you can take that and you can do newsletters, you can do drip campaigns, and then you can start building upon that. So like I said, that's kind of an advanced piece of it. You know, it's using it in a million different ways. You could also send it to any listings that you might have lost. So you lose a listing, then every month they're going to be reminded that that you're still here. I did one that was slightly snarky of me, but really in all intents, I did want to smooth it over. We had a few years ago in acreage in Blair that a sign got put in incorrectly, because, you know, in Blair country roads, it's kind of hard to determine exactly what it was. Well, this homeowner freaked out, posted all sorts of stuff about how awful we were on social media, showed pictures of them trashing the sign and leaving it in the ditch, and basically an open letter for us to come retrieve it. And so I had, Tom and I both had conversations with both the husband and the wife to try to smooth it over, and it still was kind of rocky. And so I sent them, sorry for the inconvenience. I hope that you found our solution satisfactory, and I hope you enjoy this year-long magazine subscription from Better Homes and Gardens. So it was kind of a little bit of a kill them with kindness, but you know, it's one of those things where you have an opportunity to use this in a very inexpensive way to make an impact. You can also post on your social media of how many you're doing, how many you've sent, and why you love the value of the brand. The other thing that you can do with it is, if you have a listing in a neighborhood, go ahead, pick a little hotspot bubble around it, determine how much you want to ad spend, obviously, pick a little hotspot bubble around it and get them magazine subscriptions. So then you're almost doing mini farmings, right? So you've got your listing, then you send a personal note to all of those neighbors that you're doing a magazine subscription for. You do the same thing, you send them a note, you confirm that they got it, you point out, something that they got later, and then add that on top of, maybe you do a just sold to that little bubble. Maybe then you do all of my solds. You can start marketing to that little teeny tiny bubble and having kind of those mini farming areas without spending a lot of money. And obviously, if you want to get up to what Mark does and get that 800 sphere, you can do that. But definitely have processes to optimize that. Otherwise, it can be a waste of money if it's only just a one touch and done. The other thing that you can do with it is rip out articles. Get those extra 5 a month or so. Rip out an article that's relevant to a client of yours that's top of mind. Hold it up, write a cute little note card and said, I saw this in the magazine and I thought of you. Boom. Now they've got, an extra touch. So it's a note card, but it's also, you want the extra step of noticing them and seeing them outside of just, it popped up on my CRM to contact them this month. And then you can also post links to articles through Better Homes and Gardens. I think that we should do that more regularly because it does solidify the brand. So just having those kind of at seasonal changes, especially is when the brand is really relevant. So, as fall comes up, then you can send links on social media about, tips on making sure that your fall landscape is, ready for next spring, or gutters or maintenance or whatever the case may be. There's tons of it. And then who else to send it to? So all sorts of people, send it to your nail salons, your teachers, your kids' friends, send it to cousins out of state, send it, utilize it and just think creatively. Car dealerships, what other places have waiting rooms that don't necessarily have?
Dentists,
Yeah.
doctors' offices, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So all sorts of, your vendors even. So the vendors that you use, that you love, might as well just send them a cute little gift. You could do, let's say you have a spouse that works, somewhere that has businesses around it, send them to kind of those, send them to your spouse's coworkers, send them to spouse's work. There's just a lot of different ways to utilize it if you start thinking beyond just sending out a magazine subscription. Because we do have a tendency to think, well, nobody likes paper anymore. We're all online. Well, this magazine is very relevant and is still a trusted, valuable piece of content that you can give to your clients very easily. Any questions? I kind of went on a little rant there, so I'm glad I got to get kind of some of my fun ideas that I like to, if anybody wants to create a landing page to drive traffic and then do a newsletter, I would love to work with you on that.
So Leslie, can you give everybody an idea of, this is kind of, it's big what you just all said, and sometimes it's like too big to eat. So how do you start taking bites? What would you suggest are the first 2 or 3 steps that people should do to get themselves going?
I would say start with anyone that has bought or sold with you in the last year.
Okay.
And then anyone that you've been working with that didn't ever actually buy or sell. Because we have had some of that from this spring that we're going to wait. So those 2 first. Mm-hmm. And then if you wanted to expand into your A+ clients, then that would be the next step that I would do. Okay.
So you would take those people, make a list, take those, let's say 20 people. Let's just give a number, 20 people. And you would go onto the site, go onto Greenhouse, get into that and begin to do your ordering. As soon as you did that ordering and had your custom label, then you send a copy of all that to Audra in as compact of a way as possible. Because I can just see your email, Audra. I'm thinking about the emails for the renewal of these the magazines, because that I'm almost thinking of doing a different email address to have it come back to, because just think about it, if you ordered 100 of them and next year in August, you get this, or they'll probably start in June. Do they all come individually, or do they, I mean, that I think would be important to know, is would it be more prudent to order like 20 at a time or 10 at a time, because then you get one notice that says all of these are going to come up, or is it 10 different?
And utilizing, you know, kind of like we were saying, we don't want to just shotgun a bunch of magazines out there. I mean, we'd love to.
Yeah.
And with doctor's office, dentists, you know, the people that aren't like a personal connection, but having more exposure. When it comes to your clients, you want to have enough clients that you can bite off and chew, because you want to send personal note cards to them. You're going to want to reach out to them when they get the subscription. You're going to want to reach out to them a couple months after that. And then you're going to need to determine how you want to maintain contact with them if you're going to utilize that magazine piece of it too.
So the overachiever that did 800 a month or does 800 a month, he must have an entire system just for this. I mean, he'd have to have somebody that's just what they did if he manages that amount.
He actually told me about that.
Yeah.
And he got three ladies who were like on the boards of the neighborhood associations, and he actually talked them into getting their real estate license, which that's kind of maybe above and beyond, but even just to get like an assistant, but they handle all of the magazine side of it for him.
Okay. It sounded like
and follow up on those
that way. So yeah, we'll create it as we go along and we'll share.
But he needed them he said he needed them to help with all the deals that he was getting.
Right. Well, I think if we just keep communicating on, you know, the kind of the glitches and things that we run into, we'll teach each other just like we do everything else. That's why we're agents teaching agents.
I would also, I don't know if someone uses it right now and knows what happens when the year is up. I would also have to ask that question to them too. So I can also ask about the renewal, what happens at that time, and get that information.
My understanding is you do get notified. I just don't know if it's via email, or my guess would be via email, but like Carol was saying, I don't know if it's individually or if it comes in however many you have that month. So yeah, and they just redid that portion of the greenhouse too, so it could have changed from previously.
I think everybody would be very interested in knowing what that process looks like, because as an individual subscriber to the magazine, I got an enormous amount of communication from the company, from Meredith, with all the magazines. So I think that would be helpful for us to know how to we don't want to overwhelm the person we gave the gift to with that. So maybe Audrey will talk about that later and get more information out. So I think it's an amazing idea. And does anybody else have any questions for Leslie?
Sylvia asked about same price for Hawaii and Alaska. My understanding is yes, but for Canada, there's obviously a more expensive piece to that.
Okay. And Jenny Wilson, did you say this already, that she said that she believes that you get a single email that says you have 5 subscriptions expiring soon?
Yeah, it sounds like then you can log in and see which ones and pick and choose. So that'd be good.
So that's a really good reason for people to be organized before they do their order. Perfect. Instead of having to go back and forth, because those become individual orders that all have different communication levels.
Great.
Okay, great. So you guys have any more questions? We're actually at 1 o'clock. So we're keeping track of everybody who's been on this call the whole time. And I want to give you guys a heads up about upcoming ATAs. Next week we have really amazing gal. Her name is Peggy Uroff, and she is from Sacramento area in California. And she owns and has managed for probably the last 10 years a website that's called Popeye Ideas. She's also a top producing agent. one of our Buffini White Hat friends, and she is going to do a presentation on how she uses Popeyes in lots of different ways than we do them ourselves. You know, the impact that the Popeye that we all had this week gave to all of us. And she's been doing this as a profession also for years. So we're going to have her on the 30th. If you remember Heather Roxburgh, who was one of our main stage performers for us in our page event 2 years ago, I think it was. She will be here on the 30th, and she's going to talk about that you're responsible for your own glass ceiling, and that is as a team leader, as a team member, and as an individual agent, how we create our own glass ceiling, and what she has discovered, and particularly through this COVID situation, on how to break through all of the limitations. So lots of great tools from her. August is going to be Greg Mitchell, who is going to come and talk to us about the state of the market in appraisals, and a panel of all of our top agents who represent builders to help teach us how to be better buyers agents for new builds. And so I'm really excited about what's coming up, and hopefully you guys will be too, and we'll give you some heads up before. And thanks, Leslie. Great job, Leslie and Audra.
You'll be getting more information from us in email format so that you can have an overview of what the program is and some frequently asked questions, how to do it. And then next week we'll just kind of be peppering you all with success stories, testimonials, words of wisdom straight from Jen Marchetti about it, and all of those fun little successes. So I'd love to see it and see how many we get ordered, and let me know, me or Audra know, if you have any questions.
Okay, ready, Leslie? Virtual hug. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks.